right, everybody. Hello and welcome back to some more Mania 7 Key World Cup 2026 action. We have the first match of our Sunday block of round of 16 matchups, and we're starting off with a good one here. This is going to be a winner's bracket match between China, our number 3 seed, and Mexico, our number 19 seed. One of the victors of a few different upsets we had last week. So putting their pedal to the metal and doing what they can against a very tough opponent here in China. That being said, I am Toph Daddy, one of your commentators for this match, and I am joined here by Chillier Pair. How's it going?
Good evening. Excited for my first match of 7 Key this year in a round of 16 that has looked pretty decent so far. Actually, we've gotten a couple close matches up on here, couple 5-2s, couple 5-3s, but nothing that's been unbelievably close thus far in this match being the first of Sunday. Maybe has a chance to deliver. Mexico putting up a pretty impressive upset versus Germany in the round of 32. A 5-1 scoreline on a 19th seed is quite the performance from them. China making it through as expected versus Italy. Another 5-1 victory for them as the third seed. I think we all had no doubts in our minds that a very strong traditional 7 Key country is performing well through this round of 16 here, and now they get the chance to go up against each other. Mexico maybe looking for some heroics against China here. It's always tough to tell with these, top 8 seeded teams how they're going to fare in these round of 16 quarters matches, because they're not sort of pushed to that brink of destruction and, have to show everything that they have in all cases. And in the case of China, I think they had a lot more to give against Italy. I think they had a couple of good scores up on the board, notably on a couple of maps throughout the round of 32, being maps such as the EX3 going to be a notable number 1 for them as well. So that mini hybrid TB length pick there. And I think that they've got a lot to show for us today. Mexico, they gave it their best shot. It worked out really well for them. They looked amazing against Italy, even if they were looking pretty strong on a couple of slots. I'm expecting some big things for them, maybe pull a couple of points against our third seed.
Yeah, right now we're getting into our protects and bans. China protecting LN2, Mexico protecting Rice 1, and that's about what you expect from this kind of scenario. I think both teams in general are pretty well-rounded as a whole. China kind of has to be if they're going to be that number 3 seed, but Mexico, even at that number 19 seed, is going to be pretty well-rounded in general. And I think when you're looking at matchups like this, you would usually expect higher seeds to want to go for more volatile picks, more difficult picks that will test the skill ceilings of your opponents as much as possible. And in this case, I think that really sticks around with the LN pool and the hybrid pool especially when it comes to that coordination. So it makes sense for China to stick with the LN, and the less volatile picks, like pretty much the entire Rice pool, are going to be favored by Mexico, who are basically looking to perform as well as they can, get as good of accuracy as possible to keep up with China and hopefully outact them, but potentially also bank on those mistakes that would give them the opening to take those points. So far, we're kind of seeing the expected results of the protected ban phase.
And I would agree. I think that's generally the sentiment that we tend to drag on for these high versus mid-seed matchups, is that the versatility of the higher seeded team ends up coming into play quite strong in the early stages. Meanwhile, we like to see sort of the mid-seeded teams focus on those accuracy, consistency almost based picks that we know that they're so strong at, and that really does give them the chance to show, again, we say accuracy, but really it comes down to consistency, to show their consistency on those sorts of picks and be able to sort of put on that display, maybe without having to show a broad range of skill sets, where these higher seeded teams may have a little bit more depth. Now, Mexico going into to an LN pick to start us off instead of switching to that Rice pool. Maybe just wanting to stay away from a lot of those Chord Stream, Chord Jack maps in there this week. Just, start it off a little bit easier, maybe not jumping straight into the pit here.
Yeah, this is an interesting situation because I don't think this LN3 pick would ever come out from China in general. I think if China's going to be sticking with anything, it's going to be LN2, which was their Protect. I think the hybrids would come out, and then I think the EX pool is going to be very favorable for China because it really pushes the skill ceiling of the players in general. So this LN3 makes sense. It's the easiest of the long note picks to get good accuracy on, and it has that sort of quality that I was mentioning with most of the Rice pool, where it's easier to keep up with accuracy, and you can take advantage of mistakes of your opponents more readily, especially if you feel comfortable with it. And Mexico last week wasn't necessarily looking to go into go into hybrids or long notes against Germany, but they were able to perform extremely well on them. And we mentioned it earlier, they made that very impressive 5-1 upset victory last weekend because of their ability and versatility to keep up with Germany on those LN picks. So they might just be trying to pull it off again against a little bit tougher of an opponent this time.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting battle for Mexico on their first pick here. China, a team that is very strong on the LN picks, even dragging one into their Protects now on their first pick, looking to hold up the accuracy in order to get that advantage early. Looking a little bit slow start here for Ostrov down on the bottom, but plenty of time to recover, plenty of time for slip-ups, but again, that's asking for a mistake to come out of China on a round of 16 pool, which is asking a lot as we are going to go into the first DI right here.
Yeah, and at this point, now with Ostrov having missed twice, already building up to 400, but still with 2 misses, you're asking for China to make multiple mistakes in this pick. And Ostrov continuing to find some struggles. They do find a trade there with Satori, but it's still 1 full combo to 1. And Ostrov having as many misses as they do is going to be devastating. And now Kopi finding a drop as well. And Turks, the last one to hold on to the full combo, but more importantly, the accuracy from Team China outclassing Mexico at the moment, on top of just generally having the combo advantage.
Very clean miss for Satori. Just one break there and done. Maintains the accuracy alongside it and has recovered beautifully for this next 1200 combo. Unfortunately, Kopi finding a second break, whereas Ostrov has now started to pull up a bit of a combo, maybe dropping some of those early map uncertainties. But for Mexico, that's a 36,000 score difference quite quickly, and with less than a quarter of the map to go, China is looking poised to take a break point on this early section here. As Turks finds a break, though, that is going to give a little bit, but Kopi found a break to trade it out, so we are going to maintain even here, and Ostrov finding yet another couple misses here might solidify this one.
Yeah, especially with Satori holding onto the combo in the stead of Turks after that drop. No full combos on this map, but the high combos and accuracies from China are going to be enough to get an opening breakpoint on a potentially unexpected opening pick from Mexico, deciding to go into the LNs despite banning one of them and seeing China protect them. Maybe ill-advised, and Mexico not getting the upper hand on that one, and China now with an opportunity to really establish a lead early on in this matchup.
Very impressive stuff from China, just to maintain that sort of control on the LN picks, and even when finding breaks, able to keep that composure and just get right back on it is such a unique strength of China that we do see in, a couple more of the higher seeded teams here, but such a good display from them on the early onset here as somebody who does not play LN picks well on any team. This is very impressive.
Hey. Right. I mean, I think it's even more impressive when you start to consider the type of LN map that we're talking about, like the most dense, the highest note count, and highest combo speed just in general. Being able to break without having any messy accuracy drops on top of it. It was an impressive skill set in its own right. It only gets harder as it gets denser, so a very good show of skill from China there on that pick of LM3, but they are going to be moving into the hybrids here, as I've expected from the outset. They did protect that LN2, but they have at least one more pick after this, no matter what happens, so they're probably just saving that protect for it later on in the match and deciding that the hybrids are the best mode of attack against Mexico right now, especially after seeing the score difference that they were able to pull off on that LM3 pick.
And I very much agree. When you get into protected maps, even in these early stage matches, you never want to chance it. And if I'm China, I don't want to lose my protected pick and not necessarily even let the point slip away, but just use it that early on in the match. Even if you think you have the upper hand here, it's always good to just have that one pick on the back burner where if you get to match point and start to struggle a little bit, Mexico finds their second wind, maybe takes a break point back, makes this even. You want to have that there just in case something happens, but it doesn't look like any uncertainty out of China here. This was a quite fast hybrid pick from them coming out here. Maybe a little bit more of an LN-focused hybrid pick for Taytoris here, so something up their wheelhouse, maybe trying to keep it within that same area, shut Mexico out with a quick consolidated break point.
Yeah, I think China was well aware of their strategy coming into this. It seems like both teams have been. Both picks came out pretty quickly. But here we go into Tetris. We see China with a little bit of an accuracy advantage, and Kopi finding an early break right around the 400 combo mark, which is about the worst place you can miss. And that just makes it so that you lose as much of that combo as possible. And Kopi continuing to miss right around 400 and giving China just a huge advantage already. Even with just 2 misses, they're already starting to lead by about 14,000, especially based on this accuracy from both of the Chinese players. 99.85 from Turks at the moment, and both of the Chinese players still holding on to the full combo against just the one from Mexico on Ostrav.
Ostrav cleaned it up quite a bit from that first pick. Again, maybe finding a little bit more of a comfortable spot. Kopi with a very clean break early on, almost 99.5, so impressive on the accuracy to maintain up just a little bit below Satori, but with a double full combo coming out from China on high accuracy right now. That is going to start widening that score gap as Ostrav finds a break. That's going to give him another swift 5,000 right there, and that is going to be just a little bit past halfway, maybe 2/3 through the map now. We're going to have another Key Eye section coming up here, and then back into these switch sides here, holding strong for China as Mexico really can't do anything right now but sit back and wait for a break.
Yeah, and at this point, you're looking at an even denser section, which means that Mexico will have to perform through an even harder section of these long notes, which they already showed a little bit of struggles on. Ostrav going to show those struggles again with a miss of their own, while they're not seeing any misses from China. No mistakes coming their way, as we see still 2 full combos going into the ending of this map. And the lead not quite as big as what we saw on LN3, but despite that, China just putting on a show and doing everything they need to just absolutely crush Mexico on this pick. 2 full combos, it looks like, is going to get them their second point in the match and take advantage of the early break point.
A 1.98 almost million score into the ending. I would be hard-pressed to see this not be a top 3 of the weekend with that accuracy as well. Satori Zach being down closer to that 99.5 may leave some room for a couple of teams to steal that away, but a very solid performance from both players there in Turks. 99.7 for what a performance. Not too bad from Mexico. A couple breaks here and there. Kopi actually held up pretty well after that initial set of misses, but Ostrav maybe just finding a couple more frequent breaks, shutting out any opportunities there as China maintains their consistency as their 3rd seed position would entail. And now Mexico looks to try and get their first on the board here. It's only 2-0, nothing crazy here. It is a consolidated break point for China, so Mexico now looking for 1 back. They still have their protect on the board. I would assume they're going to want to wait one more map to use it just in case. Maybe pick something else here and then go in for it if all goes wrong for them. Plenty of maps left.
Yeah, in this situation, I'd almost be thinking about what they'd expect China to ban in the next ban phase, because this is their last pick before that, and they're going to decide that Rice 3 is the one to go for. I would have maybe expected a Rice 4 pick here, but I think both make sense. Going for the faster chord stream pick after seeing China ban the slower and denser chord stream pick, looking at the accuracy side of things as a whole is kind of what Mexico's going to be looking at on the Rice side, and it's another situation where I think this is where the accuracies from both of these teams are going to be a lot closer than what we saw on either LN3 or the Hybrid 1 picks that we saw, and that's where those misses from China are potentially going to be more impactful for the overall performance and results in this case, and Mexico looking to try and keep it as close as possible so they can take advantage of that.
Yeah, this is going to be an interesting one, being a little bit lower density on this third Rice pick here, where, you know, I think what you generally try and rely on in these sort of Rice picks is who can keep the lowest miss count. I think we're expecting the high accuracy just by virtue of it being a Rice. But I think the fact that it does have that lower density leaves more room for the breaks. And for Mexico right now, they're going to have to make a turnaround. We've seen a lot more frequency with the misses on their side than we have with China, one at most on these picks. So it's a completely different style of pick from what we've seen. Luckily, you know, it's going to sort of flip the switch on where the skill set lies. But you know, I do have to say China has looked exceptional when trying to minimize those breaks overall here.
Yeah, and we do see the first member swap out from either team so far. Qing Jiding does come in to replace Satori on this first Rice pick we see in the matchup, so Qing Jiding just maybe a little bit more comfortable when it comes to these Rice patterns, or specifically just these lighter chord stream patterns. And coming out of the opening, we see that the accuracies are a lot closer than what we had seen on the other two picks so far in this matchup. China still with a slight advantage on that side, but not by nearly as much as what we saw. And everyone above 400 combo establishing the score lead that is needed, but China going to eke out just a little bit of a lead out of that first quarter.
Let's Tyrix once again with that high 99.9% accuracy. Qing and Kopi basically matching each other here. So it's just Ostrov falling behind a little bit, but any set of breaks from either team could switch that up here. It's only 3K in favor of China, and we're not even at the halfway point. It's only a 2-minute map on this third Rice pick, so not a whole lot of room for error here, but China very, very slowly inching out score after score here as we maintain matching accuracy on two players. And Terex continues to top the lobby here by almost 0.1% accuracy over the next closest. No misses, though. Mexico holding on well right now.
Yeah, we get into the break section still. 4 full combos across the board. Like you said, Qing and Kopi kind of matching each other. Kopi maybe a little bit behind right now, but that is an essentially negligible difference in accuracy. The main culprit of the accuracy is just the difference between Turks and Ostrov, and props to Turks for being able to keep this extremely high accuracy through some of these patterns. We get into the ending, which gets a little bit denser than the rest, but we're still seeing no mistakes across the board. But Ostrov, with the lower accuracy, is going to find the first combo break of this map and finds a few mistakes in this denser section, and China looking to take a second break point.
Unfortunate set of misses. Very high intensity ending section there. It's, you know, kind of the one section where you would maybe expect to see the break, and unfortunately just those two slip ups from Ostrov. It was looking to be China's map regardless with those accuracies. Another very impressive team score from them. I'm expecting yet another maybe top 3 score of the weekend, and there's China going for their protect pick to force the match point instead of using it on match point. So they're just going to get it done now, force Mexico into an uncomfortable position where they now need to win 4 in a row, as I will assume China will win their protect pick. This is right up their alley. LN2, as well as the fact that they have taken 2 break points on the side here.
Yeah, this map, this is the kind of map where I'd be very scared of a team like China. The coordination required on the LN patterns throughout this entire map are nothing like what we saw in that LN3, where Mexico was already showing a lot of struggles with holding onto combo. And I mean, obviously, it being China's protect, this is a scary thing to see if you're on Team Mexico here, just because I imagine China's very confident in their ability to hold on to something like this. It's also extremely short, which means those combo breaks are going to be much more impactful than they would be on a longer map, and it's just one of those situations where mistakes are going to be emphasized, and so far China has not been making many mistakes this match.
I mean, the biggest break we've seen from them in this match was a singular miss, and it was clean. Again, it really wasn't, locking out of a pattern. It wasn't completely fumbling the keys. It was just a really quick mishap and then right back on it from them. So, kind of like you said, with a very control-focused LN pick here for LN2, the fact that there is almost like multitasking going on in a pick like this, where you're trying to play these long, drawn-out LN patterns with swaps outside of them, is China's wheelhouse, and it's something that they have already proven in years past, and even in this match with their confidence on the LN picks and even the hybrid that was a little bit more LN focused here. So there is really nothing I'm expecting to change, especially given that it is a protected map for them. It's really just a question of if Mexico can hold on.
Yeah, we're already starting to see some struggles. I was going to say that maybe the silver lining for Mexico in this scenario is that because of the slower nature of the song, the actual accuracy, if you're capable of playing this, getting good accuracy is actually not terribly difficult, but that does require you to hold onto the combo and be comfortable with the coordination aspects of this. And Kopi is holding on very well, matching Satori as they had on Hybrid 1 as well, but Astrav not feeling super comfortable on this, already below the 98%, and just that those 2 drops and the accuracy difference is enough for China to establish a very early 40,000 point score lead.
This is just such a strong duo for China. You have both of these teams, and you look at, they have team size 4 on both sides. China's given the opportunity to themselves to make one swap out here, but Mexico really just running with these 2 stars in Kopi and Ostrov here, and really haven't had a chance to get a break from anything. They're sort of just in playing everything, and unfortunately Ostrov just not super confident on these LN picks here. Definitely not their strong point. They looked really good on the hybrid. Maybe those more Rice favored picks given that protect there, but again, just yet another break, and China so strong as an overall duo.
Yeah, and this team score from China is just absurd so far. Kopi doing everything they can, actually well above Satori's accuracy right now, so doing what they can to challenge China, but it's a 2-man team. Astrav just not able to keep up, and that one player not being able to keep up is more than enough for China to take advantage of and take that point and bring it to match point as we start our second ban phase. And if I'm in China's shoes, I think Rice 4 has to be the ban. I would not want to keep that open just because it's maybe the least volatile pick in the entire pool, and it's one that I think Mexico would more than happily pick just as a way to, similar to Rice 3, keep accuracies extremely close and be able to take advantage of any mistakes that China makes. Which I don't think there's any other pick in the pool that does that quite like Rice 4 does.
I agree, and the second ban phase is actually why I was sort of questioning why China felt the need to pick their LN to protect so early on here. Now, it doesn't really seem like it's going to be a problem for them given their current track record of picking and winning maps in this match, but if you have a second ban phase and you know that there is likely a map that you're also strong on that Mexico is going to probably ban out here, I do wonder why China didn't just pick something like that and leave this LN2 for the final pick on the next side. But again, at this current scoreline, that's kind of more just theory crafting rather than reality, as it's sort of in Mexico's court now to try and find a pick to start with that they're going to be able to have a chance on, and they're really going to have to look hard to this rice pool. I don't know if any of these EXs are going to work for them, especially with the EX1 being gone here with that sort of mixed rice pick, the LN pick now gone as well, so that basically just leaves the hybrid pick, which is probably the hardest map in the pool.
Oh yeah, in the regular pool anyways. Tiebreaker notwithstanding in that scenario. But yeah, EX3 definitely would be what I consider the hardest map in the pool. Now, I mentioned that I would have expected China to actually ban out Rice 4, just because I think the volatility of that pick is so low and the accuracy potential of it is so high that Mexico should have a very capable team, but they are going to actually go with their Protect. Rice 1, so they're backed up to the wall and decide that the Protect is their best option to try and stay alive in this winner's bracket matchup.
I like it. I mean, this is sort of what a Protect is for.
Yeah, if there's a time to pick it, it's now, because you might not get the chance to do it otherwise.
Yeah, you know, I've seen it in many other tournaments before, actually, that have Protects where the team will protect a map really early on and they will be at like the brink of losing a match and still won't pick their Protect map, and I will wonder, why did you protect that map if you're so averse to picking it? So I like that Mexico at least recognizes that this is a good pick for them. They protected it, they might as well go for it now. It's their best chance, and again, like we said, sort of given everything else in the pool, they can't really go for LN pool is gone, actually, so they don't really have to worry about anything there. The EX pick is going to be maybe a little bit too hard for them overall. And then you've got the other two Rice picks, which at this juncture is more core jacks that they're not super favored on, and a super techie pick, which is going to favor that miscount again, which China has proven that they're very strong at. So if there was anything for Mexico to go in for to maybe just bolster that confidence, it's got to be this Rice.
Whoa.
What is happening
Going
here?
For full double flashlight on this. What? Is an interesting choice.
This is the move.
It's the move. It's the magic touch to get them that accuracy that they need, I guess.
I mean, yeah, if you think that you're maybe just gonna like overplay your hand, your nerves are getting to you, or you know, a lot of people have a tendency to like tunnel vision, I think, when they're sort of under pressure. Maybe it's going to help. Unfortunately for Ostrov, it's not looking to be a super strong start here. Likewise with Kopi, the accuracy not sitting high. So maybe just a last fun bout for them on this last pick.
Potentially. It does look like the flashlight is making them hit a little bit early. This is the type of map where flashlight as a mod can be pretty helpful. The density of certain parts can be tough, and like you said, it can help you avoid that tunnel visioning that can happen with jumbling of more dense picks, and especially with single note streams. I get lost in them all the time, and flashlight can definitely help that. Though in this case, the accuracy is not really keeping up with what's needed. Ching and Turks both above 99.7 right now, and that lead already at 100,000 points.
Well, I think that this may just be a case of getting Mexico's last hurrah here, maybe looking to have a little bit of fun on their last pick. I don't blame them. China has just displayed exactly what we expected to see of them this week. Again, I sort of mentioned at the start of the match that we didn't really see full force China last week. I think they had a little bit more struggles versus Italy than we expected. Maybe just not quite as ready for it, but they absolutely came into this round of 16 match swinging. I've seen at least 2 scores here that could very easily be number 1 or top 3 on those maps of the weekend, and we haven't even seen the rest of the Sunday matches here. So completely different China this week in the round of 16. Mexico, they've done their best. They made it to the round of 16 in the winner's bracket, which is more than most 19 seeds can ask for, and I'm excited to see what the losers bracket is going to hold for them here as they face the winner of Australia versus the Netherlands. Another tough matchup.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be an interesting sight in the losers bracket. You mentioned China not having as strong of a performance in round of 32. Something else that I think is really important to note about that situation is I think that as the pools get harder, that will allow China to kind of flex their muscles, so to speak, in the 7-key game. So this a little harder makes it more obvious that China is here to play. They've got their 5th point, and they're into the quarterfinals, where I can only assume that with the harder map pool, China's going to have even more to play with and really show their stuff. But they will take the match, move on to the winner's side at quarterfinals. Mexico going out with a bit of a bang there, playing a little bit of fun, doing some flashlight gaming, and unfortunately being knocked into the losers bracket. But luckily for us, we will still have the opportunity to see them in the losers bracket for quarterfinals. So they are not eliminated from the tournament, but they will be in a little bit more of a struggle trying to keep themselves alive with 1 life left on the line.
And that is yet another matchup decided for China here in that quarterfinals weekend. The first winners bracket match decided now. That will be the 3rd-seeded China facing off against our 6th-seeded Peru, who also defeated their opponents Poland 5-0 on Saturday. So a very good matchup already forming there. We've still got 3 more in the winners bracket. We've also still got 4 more in the losers bracket to be decided, including that Mexico potential. We've already got Poland, France set up, Hong Kong, New Zealand, Venezuela, Sweden, and Ireland versus Germany. So a whole host of matchups left to come. We've got plenty more on Sunday.
You're talking about next week. Sorry.
For next week's, yes. Those are next week's matchups.
Those are next week's matchups, not the ones coming up in the Sunday block.
Nope,
I thought you were talking about the Sunday block. I was like, wait, I just commentated Ireland. They're not playing.
Yeah, we're merging weekends. No, we're swapping.
Quarterfinals is happening right now, guys. No.
Be there.
But be there. But that was going to be our opening matchup for our Sunday block of matches. It's going to be a lone match here. We have quite a big gap between matches before we get back into it. About 7.5 hours from now will be our next match block start. That'll be at 11 UTC, and it's going to be Philippines versus Spain, and then a little bit of about a 1 hour break between that, and then the final block of matches will start coming along the way with Indonesia, Russia, UK, Vietnam, Australia, Netherlands, Korea, South Korea, Canada, and Brazil, Portugal. It's a jam-packed Sunday, and I'm really excited to see how the rest of the round of 16 shakes out. How are you feeling about it?
I'm excited. As always, the round of 16 is a great weekend to have around. The quarterfinals only gets even better. And as we whittle down our teams, that means that you've got fewer and fewer choices, but you can still support your favorite country by buying a banner. That's right. You can go on the store as usual. We're going to get banners up for you all as soon as possible. I think if they're not going to be up by the end of this weekend, they are going to be up for next weekend. So please keep a lookout for those on the store. I know this is sort of something we haven't had a chance to mention too much yet. They are going to be out very, very soon. That's insider information. So please take a look on the website. Check every day throughout the week. Support your favorite teams. Those will be up very soon. We apologize for the delay in your being able to publicly support your favorite country. So be on the lookout.
Yeah, so stay tuned for those. It's going to be an exciting time once those banners are released, but they should be here soon. But with that being said, that should just about do it for us in this singular match block. Like I said, make sure to stay tuned. Come back in about 7.5 hours for the start of our longer block of matches, with starting with a great matchup. Philippines versus Spain for the 7-key World Cup. It's going to be an exciting time, and I hope to see all of you there.